is, guys? It's your boy BlastphamousHD, and today we're coming at you with a bit of a special video. To tell you the truth, I'm doing this video solely for the purpose of punishing myself for being less than truthful with you guys and some of my stories and some of the things that I've said, like told you guys that I've done. And I don't mean that I've done less of the stuff that I've told you I've done. I've left details out because I thought they would embarrass me, you know? So today we're gonna be sharing some of the most embarrassing things I've ever done that I've never told anyone. Between these three stories, I've probably told collectively like 3 people. So let's start off with I think to be the worst one. It's probably the worst one. And I've never told anybody this shit. I've never told anybody this. Okay, so when I was like 13 years old, right? I hadn't had a girlfriend, you know, I'd never kissed a girl, or it's just a lot of shit I hadn't done with females, right? And I was lonely. Somehow, I got it in my mind to believe that the reason why I wasn't getting no females was because my penis wasn't big enough, right? I went on the internet and I had read on there that like preferable size of a penis for a woman was like 15 to 20 inches or some shit. So in order to rectify this, I don't know, this is so funny to me, I'm like legitimately tearing up. So in order to rectify this, I had found on the internet a way of making your penis bigger, which involved masturbating like excessively to the point of pain, like all the time. I did this shit for legitimately like 3 months. Worst part is, I don't think it worked. Well, I don't know. Just goes to show you how ill thought out this plan was. Even if I did succeed, you know, and ended up somehow growing a 2-foot long penis, like, number one, who would want to go anywhere near that shit? At a certain point of length, it is just plain a deformity out this bitch. And that's not attractive. And 2, how the fuck was I gonna show it to him? Was I gonna walk around with no drawers or fucking pants on out this bitch? Huh? Like wheelbarrow that shit to school. Gotta let all the bitches see this. Yep, this will get me the bitches. When I get on the plane, I have to check this in carry-on. You gotta carry your penis in a separate suitcase. Apparently that's how big I was trying to grow it, man. I've done excessively stupid shit as a young person, but that's probably the worst. Actually, I've probably done a lot worse. I just can't remember it now. Okay, so next story is, I was like 12 or 11 or some shit, and I used to dumpster dive for porn magazines. I just now realized how weird this makes me sound. This is like, I can't believe I have never been maced by women weird, you know? But, okay, so yeah, man, when I was a kid, I used to fucking dumpster dive for naked magazines. Playboy was the thing back then, and I could never get a hold of any of them, you know, and I was a child, so I couldn't afford any myself. So I used to fucking dumpster dive for those bitches. And, which isn't that weird. The other kids I knew who were my age was doing the same shit. Like, back then, this was like the only way to see titties. That's real. You know, aside from like breaking into someone's house or like drilling a hole through like a female's bathroom stall or some shit. And that shit's fucking gross. So this was the way, you know? And I knew a lot of fucking other dudes in my apartment complex who were around my age, like 14, 15, who would do the same shit, right? It was so bad and so smiled upon in my apartment complex where like all the young dudes lived. We legitimately had a clubhouse and we would store all the naked bitches magazines there. And what's really bad is I didn't even like masturbate enough. I didn't know what to do with the porn magazines. I just knew that I liked titties. That's all. I just knew that. That's all I knew, man. I just knew that shit looked good. That's all I knew. You know, it's really funny because I remember at one point there was like 5 of us in this clubhouse. We had gotten like cardboard boxes and shit. Like we were legit. It was official, you know? And at one point we had gotten into an argument with our 5th member who wasn't bringing in enough magazine titties. He wasn't pulling his share. You feel me? So we booted him out, to which case he came to the clubhouse, ripped the whole thing down when we was gone, and stole all the magazine titties for himself. Selfish son of a bitch. That's not the embarrassing part though. The most fucked up thing about the internet not being where it is today, where you just see boobs and asses and anuses, like it's the shit is everywhere now. Back then, the only way you could see vagina and titties was like you had to get that shit out of a book. You had to read porn. It's fucked. Well, on one side of it, there's a pretty effective way to get us to read books. But, I mean, so one day I had went dumpster diving for more porn, right? And I came on this, that sounds bad, especially given the context of this story. I came upon this shoebox, right? And it had a bunch of fucking naked chick magazines in it. So I was like, nigga, I hit the jackpot. I absconded back to the new hideout with the shit and no one else was there. So I started going through these magazines and I noticed a lot of these pages are stuck together. What's really bad is when I reached the bottom of the box or whatever, like it looked like someone had tried to set it on fire. And mind you, I just came to the realization what this box really was because I was reading on Reddit about some dude had what he called a cumbox. And then when I read that, when my girlfriend read that shit to me, I'm sitting there like, huh, like, because he went in the description of what it was and what it looked like, I'm like, oh God, okay. God, geez. I think that might be far more embarrassing than the first one, the first story. It's pretty fucking embarrassing. Okay, so story number 3, and this is kind of like to set things down a bit. This one's nowhere near as embarrassing as the other ones, right? So when I was a kid, man, I think I was like 11. I was 11 years old, couldn't fight, okay? Consecutively getting beaten the fuck up. So instead of doing the smart thing and just maybe taking a boxing class or learning to fight in general, I decide that the path of least resistance is to legitimately learn to have superpowers. And I wish I was joking about this, but I went on the internet, I printed out at least like $50 to $100 worth of library printouts of people talking about how to have superpowers. I bought books. Every single dime I had went into buying books. I tried to develop, and I still remember all the terminology from this day. I tried to develop pyrokinesis, psychokinesis, which basically is telekinesis, clairvoyance, astral projection. I tried to learn all of this shit for legitimately over a year, right? To my much surprise, none of it developed, right? But the worst one is I tried to learn how to transform into a werewolf. Not even bullshitting. Y'all remember that black dude who had the nerve to try to turn Super Saiyan, damn it, on camera, right? I legitimately was doing that like 3 times a week. Oh, God, Jesus. So the embarrassing or funny part about that is, I remember, now mind you, when I was young, I used to get picked on a lot. I was always getting beaten the fuck up. I guess I finally had enough, and at the same time, in my mind, I had finally figured out how to transform into a werewolf and could do it on command, right? I go to the park where like all of the bullies who were always picking on me were always at. I'm with it, man. So I go over there and I start talking shit to them. And of course, they jump the shit out of me, right? So like maybe 1/3 of the way through the fight, I guess they fucked me up enough as to where they figured I wasn't getting back up, and they start walking away. So I get up, I'm like, yeah, you motherfuckers are fuck with the wrong one. You guys don't even know. I haven't used my best form yet. You guys are in trouble now. So I go and I start transforming into this werewolf. So at least in my mind, I was growing hair and getting bigger and hind legs and shit. I even tried to walk different and stand taller and shit. To my surprise, like, they beat the fuck out of me. Yep, they kicked the living shit out of me, man. I didn't even get a hit in, which technically I don't know if you could call it a hit, because I was doing this. Werewolves fight with their claws, which I did not have. Yeah. I'd mostly like to say, because my family members and my friends, they expect this from me, because I'm weird. Okay, but to all you guys who thought I was just a super cool, funny dude on the internet, sorry. I'm just as weird as everybody else. But then again, if you've heard my stories on my gaming channel, you probably already know these. Oh, god damn. That's bad, man. Yep, shouldn't have told people this stuff. Well, now you guys know I'm a weirdo. Like I said, you know, I decided to do this. You're welcome, because I haven't been telling you guys all of the fucked up details in the stories that I've been telling you guys. I've been leaving some juicy parts out because I thought they were embarrassing. So figured I'd embarrass the fuck out of myself in this video. Maybe, you know, take a little bit of that tinge away when I go to share some of these stories. So you're welcome, you know, and you know, if this video gets enough likes and enough support and enough shares and shit, then I'll do a part 2, because I have done such dumb shit in my life. Oh man.